back to Teachable Moments with April. I'll be reading from Mornings with Jesus. The scripture for today is 1 Samuel 17:37. Moreover, David said, "The Lord, who delivered me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear, he will deliver me from the land of the Philistine." And Saul said to David, "Go, and the Lord be with you." In this scripture passage, a teenage boy had the courage to battle a gigantic warrior when no one else in his village would dare try. He was seen as insignificant, a sheep herder, the youngest and smallest of his tall, handsome brothers. But what the folks around him didn't realize was that back in the hills, where no one could see, David had been conversing with God and singing his praise daily. He experienced hardship out there, being attacked by a lion and a bear, and watched the Lord rescue him. Those smaller victories were written on David's heart. When it was time for the battle with Goliath, he was ready for the challenge, even ran toward it, because he knew God had his back. Too often, when Jesus delivers me from a difficulty, I don't pause long enough to truly honor him and reflect on his awesomeness. That isn't how David lived. He probably wrote a new song or a psalm each time God rescued him. Some urban missionary friends remind themselves of God's faithfulness by keeping 2 glass bowls with small decorative stones on their coffee table. When they pray for something, they write 1 or 2 words related to the request on a stone, and when the prayer is answered, they move the stone to the other bowl. Today, their big bowl of answered prayer stones is a constant visual reminder of God's kindness to them and to their children. Pamela Toussaint Howard. Faith Step. Reflect on the last problem Jesus delivered you from and allow it to boost your faith for today's battles. Consider doing something meaningful to commemorate each victory. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many, many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, and that's what I love about it. When I came across it, actually on Spotify, and I thought I'd always been wondering how to do it, how to make that transition into it. And Anchor has made it so easy, and I am so glad that I have found it, and I've started my podcast for my social skills group, and hopefully I can use it for my students as well in my class. So download the free Anchor app or go to Anchor FM to get started. Welcome back to Teachable Moments with April, Part 2. The scripture for today is Job 2:10. In all this, Job did not sin in what he said. The parable for today is written by Arthur Jackson, When We Don't Understand. I don't understand his plan. I turn my whole life over to him, and this happens. Such was the message of a son to his mother when his dream to succeed as a professional athlete was temporarily derailed. Who among us hasn't had some kind of unexpected, disappointing experience that sends our minds into overdrive with exclamations and questions? A family member cuts off communication without explanation. Health gains are reversed. A company relocates unexpectedly. A life-altering accident happens. Job 1 and 2 records a series of tragedies and setbacks in Job's life. Humanly speaking, if there was someone who qualified for a life free from trouble, it was Job. This man was blameless and upright. He feared God and shunned evil. Job 1:1. But life doesn't always work out the way we'd like it to. It didn't for Job, and it doesn't for us. When his wife counseled him to curse God and die, 2:9, Job's words to her were wise, instructive, and fitting for us as well. When things happen, big or small, that we'd rather not face, shall we accept good from God and not trouble? In all this, Job did not sin in what he said. Verse 10. By God's strength may our trust in and reverence for Him remain, even when we can't understand how He's at work during life's difficult days. When has your faith in God been tested? What has He used during tough circumstances to help your reverence for Him to remain intact? Father, help me to trust You and honor You when I can't see Your hand or understand Your plan. My final thoughts. Both of these parables talk to me and hold a great deal of relevancy to me, but especially this last one from Our Daily Bread, the battles of Job. I feel moved to say this to whoever can hear my voice, is that there are going to be some of us that are going to be faced with decisions, and they may be difficult, and I am one of those people. You are going to be required to make a definitive stand against something that is moving in this world. If you are a person of faith, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and it's going to be undeniable. You are going to have to pick a side. You may think that you've already picked one already, but you're going to be put to an ultimate test. And I'm one of those people. I know by my very limited studying of the Bible, and I say limited because I know that there are other people who are more knowledgeable. They know scriptures backwards and forward. They can, memorize them and say them at the, snap of a finger. They've been studying them all their lives. Some people grew up in the church. I did not. But it's going to get really real, and I feel it. And anyone that is sensitive and is aware and is awake, or as they say, woke, you feel it too. And it's going to get really, really bad before it gets worse. But you cannot avoid what is coming, and it's going to be huge. And it is time that you really do, if you're on the fence. And I feel it. I'm not necessarily scared, because on some level we know that this was going to happen. I want you to be prepared, and I want you to stand firm, and I will do the same. So, be safe and be well.